We're at the Mint Luxury Conference in Mumbai today, and we have with us Michael Perschke, head of Audi India, who's going to tell us a little bit about their India strategy. Michael, Audi is at number 3, right behind Mercedes and BMW. So if you could tell us a little bit about what your strategy will be going forward to get to the number 1 position in India.
Well, first of all, we look at India as a long-term race. It's not about, months or weeks where you're number 1, 2, or 3. It's about the long-term objective. We have clearly stated 2015 we're going to be number 1. We're very confident. We are number 1 in Europe. We're number 1 in China. We're the fastest growing brand in the US. We are today the fastest growing luxury brand in India.
How big is the luxury car market in India, in terms of units or volumes? And, what are some of the factors you think will, drive this market?
Last year the market was barely 0.7% of the total car market was luxury. Considered luxury is everything above 22 lakhs and the key brands in the luxury space. This year probably we'll look at a total car market of 2.5 million if there's no drastic changes coming. We look at a market of 0.8 to 0.9% being luxury, so around 24,000 cars, which brings the market to a growth of at least 45-50% minimum. We want to grow as fast of a market or even faster. So long term we think the Indian total car market will go beyond 5 million. Luxury market probably will hit by that time around 100,000 cars, and definitely we want to have at least 25 to 27% of that.
Correct. Michael, if you can tell us a little bit, about the consumption in non-metro cities. How excited is Audi about, these smaller tier 2 cities?
It's definitely one of the key pillars of our network strategy. We have put our footprint into Delhi, into Gurgaon, into Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, the obvious cities, Calcutta. We're now stepping into cities, and we did that successfully with Jaipur, where from basically the 3rd month onwards we'll be market leader because we look for what we call local heroes, people who have a high connect in the society. We're putting our footprint in Chandigarh, into Ludhiana. We're opening in Ludhiana in April. We're opening in Surat. So tier 2 cities definitely are part of our strategy. And as we speak, and if we have the right products, we might even venture out in cities around 1 million inhabitants, 1.5 million inhabitants. So it might be in the future, and we are already today in Cochin. Will be markets like Bhubaneswar, will be markets like Coimbatore, like Vizag. These are cities you have to have on your radar screen for sure.
As far as, customs duty is concerned, there is of course the probability that, luxury cars will now attract a 30% duty structure. So what is Audi going to do to counter that, to ensure that margins are not hit? Will you, 1, increase prices, or 2, look at manufacturing engines in India to sort of...
I think it's too premature to make a final statement because the notification's just been out the last couple of 1 or 2 days. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an engineer. So we're looking at it, we're studying it. There's still some consultations going on because also you need to have much more clarity. The pure legal paper still leaves a lot of room for interpretation, so we're studying it right now. We as a group, Volkswagen Group, have a lot of capabilities today already. We have a plant in Aurangabad, we have a huge plant in Pune where we do already engine and gearbox manufacturing. So I think we have all options open, but first we need to have clarity.
Michael, your competitors, Mercedes, BMW, have been very aggressive in the market by launching, several schemes to make their cars very attractive to consumers. So is Audi also looking to do the same? Does the Indian consumer love a bargain? And what is...
Naturally, I spoke about that today at the conference. No matter how rich an Indian consumer is, they're always out for a deal. We consider ourselves as a real luxury brand, so we consider that we don't really want to entertain to deal making. Also, we don't see that collective bargaining is something really you should entertain as a luxury brand. I mean, nobody would, as a Rolex or Cartier or whatever brand, say, well, if there now suddenly 50 customers, give my Rolex at half the price. So we look at these kind of developments, but it's also in combination with the brand positioning. And you can sometimes have short-term sales, but it hampers your long-term brand positioning.
Can you tell us what Indian consumers look at? When they, I mean, it's very interesting to hear you in the conference, talk about what Indian consumers tend to look at, whether it's design or price. So if you can tell us a little bit about what Indian consumers really look at when they're buying, cars, and especially a luxury car.
I think for India it would be too easy that you say there's one plain vanilla approach which works for every product in every segment and pocket of India. India is at least as complex as Europe is, so something which works in Punjab, in Ludhiana or Jalandhar might not work in Chennai or Coimbatore. I would say the general trend is Indian consumers become more savvy. They move from, let's say, easy-made money but non-connoisseurs to a more connoisseur level. A lot of our customers now are exposed internationally. They know our brand and our products abroad. So I think the first trend is there's much more awareness about luxury products than it used to be 5 years ago, which again is of course more in the metros than on the countryside. The second is they look for real value. I think people start to understand, luxury. They want a package which is real luxury. So value is there. They want to understand what is your objective and your strategy as a brand. We feel that a lot of customers by now understood what are our core values of our brand, being progressive, being sporty, being sophisticated. And we get much more customers who choose us as their brand and they endorse our brand because our values and their values fit together.